Hello,
Hello, how are you?
I'm very well. How are you?
I'm good. Sorry about that little weirdness there.
Oh, that's okay. I had it in my diary as 5 o'clock. Um,
Sometimes the conversion like messes me up by an hour, so I apologize.
no problem. Are you well?
Yeah, I'm really well. Thank you. How are you?
I'm very well too. Thank you very much.
Good. Did you have a better week this week?
A little, thank you very much. Yes,
Oh,
it
good.
wasn't too bad.
Okay. So I was looking up online. It looks like you've done a whole lot of things. You're a super accomplished actor. You've done stage, film, TV, radio, you've narrated for books. You're kind of like, I guess, like the whole total package, Mike.
I mean, I'd love to think that. I'm just trying my best to
Yeah.
get on in life. Yeah, but I've been lucky to do a few interesting things.
Did you always know that you wanted to be an actor? This is something you knew when you were little?
It really started probably in my mid-teens when I was choosing subjects at school to study. In the UK, we have sort of two major exam sections. We have GCSEs and then A levels. And I was doing my GCSEs, which are around, you do those when you're around 16 years old. And when I was choosing them, I'd chosen all the major ones and I didn't had one left. I think I don't know what to do. So I just chose drama. And turns out that I really enjoyed it. That was it. So I wasn't born knowing that I wanted to do it, or when I was a child. I wish I had been, because as a child, you're at that age when you can learn to tap dance and play musical
Right.
instruments and do all that kind of stuff, which I can't do. So yeah,
Well,
I'm
I
just
do
a
know
bit.
that it's easier when you're younger to learn things. I think
It
it's harder
is.
as you get older. But
Yeah,
yeah.
mind you, at 16, you would have thought I'd be able to learn new things, but no, apparently not. So that's why most of my acting is just walking and talking and pointing.
I wouldn't just say that. What do you like about like theater versus film or films versus TV? Like, do you have a preference? Do you like all mediums?
I like all medium. Theatre is immediately gratifying because you get your reaction from your audience,
Yeah,
and that's
absolutely.
always a wonderful thing to do. Um, but TV and film, I came to it a bit later, and I really enjoy the precision behind it, like having to hit your
Mhm.
marks, knowing where to look, knowing where you need focus, knowing where your eye line is, levels for sound, all that kind of stuff. It's
Right.
exciting, and when you walk onto a set, especially like a set like for Outlander, and you look around and there's about 200 people, who are part of the crew and cast, and you've got supporting artists, you suddenly go, oh my goodness, all this is all of these people are working towards the same goal, and that's
Right.
very exciting, very
Yeah.
exciting.
It seems really exciting. Watching the show, I mean, I can only imagine what goes into putting together each scene and everything. I think
Well,
it's a
as I said,
huge
I was
production.
only on it for one episode, and I had an amazing time filming for about 5 days up in
Yeah.
Scotland, where they built a Cherokee village.
Yeah, I went back and rewatched that whole almost the entire season six because I wanted to like refresh like what I'd seen of like Alexander Scotchy Cameron and like your whole like interaction with Jamie and how you're trying to like explain to him how you're getting, well, I guess kind of illegally trying to get in, Native American Indian lands kind of thing. So that
Yeah,
was really interesting. Like how did you prepare a certain way to play him or did you have something in mind? What did you do to prepare for that character?
well, I mean, I looked him up in the book, and of course, he's really only in one chapter.
Right.
In is it Breath of Snow and Ashes? That's right, isn't it?
I think it's Breath of Snow and Ashes. Yeah.
Yeah. And he's just really talked about. There's just a little conversation. His character is nothing like the character in the TV series, because he's based on a real man as well,
Right.
and he was fully integrated into the Native American society. Um, all of the other stuff, his things, he seemed to not like the Mohawks, and he was, really took against them very badly. None of that is in the book, I think, nor is it intimated in historical books. Um, but we need to create these characters and to create dramatic tension. So that's why he's there, and I'm more than happy to do that. When I auditioned for him, the sides were slightly different, and his motivation for the duel was was different. It was like he actually had a real motivation. He felt attacked. But when I got the new script, I went, oh no, it's just because he's an awful person.
Right. Yeah,
And that was
he wasn't so great. No, not
he
really. And then
wasn't.
he
He
drank
was
so much whiskey with Jamie that I think he
yeah.
was, you know, like everything's kind of magnified when you're drunk usually. So
Yeah.
and he starts like a fight with the Indian and
Yeah, and to be honest, I mean, like when I got to know Braden, um, and he's such a lovely human being. He's one of the
yeah,
nicest
he's a
people.
very good actor.
He's an incredible actor, a lovely man, and what I love this about TV is the fact that someone like me could think that they could get into a fight with someone like him and walk away because
Right.
that wouldn't happen.
Because
Uh,
right, in real life he would just, kind of
I'm
slaughter
a
you.
I'm a very small, weak little man. Yeah, and but I did enjoy playing that character then, and it's
Yeah,
good because you always try to find something in your character that you like.
that
You
makes
have
sense.
to try and find something there that can make you go okay, and it gets more difficult with characters like that.
Yeah, oh, I'm sure.
Um,
I'm sure.
get
I
and
mean, the whole thing, like with the costumes or the detail is so amazing. And I don't know. I mean, I'm a huge fan of the show and the books. I've read the books many, many more times than I've seen the show. But did you read any more of the books or just that little segment?
I read Breath of Snow and Ashes,
Oh
but
yeah, that's one of my favorites of
yeah,
hers.
I obviously I watched the TV series up until that point as well, so I could see what it was all about. It's
Right.
an extraordinary, extraordinary story. It's
Yeah.
I loved it, and obviously our two main characters are fantastic, and Sam, who I got to meet and work with, is fabulous. Incredible actor, very lovely person on
Yeah,
set,
he's very nice.
great leader as well. He's a really lovely man. And our and of course our director was amazing. So have I lost you?
No, no, I'm still here.
I'm so
Can you
sorry.
see me?
Something's happened on my screen. There we go.
Oh
There
no.
you go.
Okay.
And
I can still
Christiana,
see you and hear you, so
yeah,
we're good.
Christiana, our director was amazing too. She
Oh,
was
well,
very
good. I'm glad you had a really positive experience.
Oh, I
So I wanted
did.
to ask you, well, this is like, I saw that you were Welsh.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of my friends, not that this is super important, but she found out a few years ago that she's Welsh and she belongs to a local St. David's Society outside of our city in Pittsburgh. And she's actually learned how to speak the language.
That's amazing. Well done
It's
her.
not an easy language.
No, it's one of the oldest living languages in Europe. It's an
Oh, I didn't even
extreme
know that.
language.
Okay. But
It's
some of the spelling is like beyond me. So,
oh yes, the double L's and PHs and
do
stuff.
you
Yeah.
speak any Welsh or?
Tippenbach, which means a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Okay.
I'm not a native Welsh speaker,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
I just
Part
thought
of
it was
Wales I
really
come from.
interesting that she integrated herself into that.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Welsh language is an extraordinary language, and it was one of the great uh, inspirations to J.R.R. Tolkien's languages for the elves.
Oh, I did not know that. Okay.
Rings. Yeah, it's
Yeah, he was
yeah,
kind of amazing, huh?
yes, he was.
What an interesting person and writer. And then he was good friends with C.S. Lewis too, which is
You can imagine their late night pipe smoking
oh my
conversation.
gosh, right. And I haven't read a whole lot of J.R.R. Tolkien, but when I was younger growing up, I always loved the Chronicles of Narnia. It's
Yeah,
still
yeah.
one of my favorites, and I love The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. So I can. And there were some really interesting stories about C.S. Lewis's life too. So yeah, they're both very interesting people, and I think they're going to be around like kind of forever. So
I certainly hope so. Their legacy is
yeah,
extraordinary, but
it is.
much like with Outlander, I think this these set of stories, these legends, they're
Yeah.
not going to go anywhere. People are going to
Well,
discover them for ages to come. I'm sure.
yeah. Well, Diana Gabaldon certainly has like a very loyal fan following. I mean, myself included. And yeah, she's an amazing writer in person. So.
She
Let
really
me
is.
ask you this about yourself. So are you currently doing something or working on something, or what would you like to do? Like, what's your plan next?
At the moment, I'm working on a couple of things voiceover wise. I
Yeah.
do a lot of voice acting. So there's a couple of games that I'm working on, which I can't tell you what they are,
Okay.
but
That's
unfortunately,
kind of fun.
it's great fun. It's a lot of fun, and I get to play lots of different interesting, usually creatures,
Right.
and heroic characters, which is hilarious. Um, but that's my mainstay at the moment. Is that I'm also working on a feature film. We start shooting on that next week,
Oh,
uh,
cool.
which is cool. Yeah, it's going to be great fun. It's sort of a modern uh, gang warfare sort of thing. It's a very interesting script. It's an excellent script, and it's very difficult to describe. But it's going to be a lot of fun. There's lots of fighting and stunts and things in it,
Ooh, that
which
sounds
I don't
good.
do. That all the fighting happens around me.
Right, right. I like
Whenever there's a
action movies.
Yeah, me too. But whenever there's a fight that breaks out, I usually, if there's a bar, then my character will stand behind that or under
Oh,
a
okay.
table.
So they don't necessarily have a stunt double for you.
There has been a time when I have done a thing where I've had a stunt double, and that was amazing because you just end up. I remember just seeing this guy going, "Oh my god, it's me!" But if I took care of myself,
That's
just
funny.
be young and
So,
muscular.
right. So when you do like voiceover work, like I'm assuming that's completely different than like obviously showing up on a set and because they're not physically seeing you, they're just hearing your voice. Is that like
Correct.
a totally different like effort? Are you more tired when you do that, or are you putting more adrenaline out when you're actually physically being seen? Like, how's that different for you as an actor?
I love voiceover. I'm never happier than when I'm in front of a microphone because there's so much scope for play
Oh, true.
and creativity, like there is with TV and film. But of course, with TV and film, there's a lot more. Well, you have a camera, and you have a lot of people who are waiting around for you to get it right, and then
Oh,
move
that's
on.
true.
Whereas in a booth, in the vocal booth, you've still got to get it right. You still got your client there, but you can offer lots of suggestions too, and you can do that on set and TV and film as well. But for really big things, like Outlander, for example, there was definitely room for play, but also you wanted to get it right because
Sure.
when you walk out on a set, as I said, when you see there's like 200 people there, there's a 60 or 70 First Nations people who've been flown over from Canada, populating this extraordinary village and being really lovely and welcoming. And then you see all the people who are in the sound department, all the people who are in production, all the people who are set dressing, everybody there. That you do feel the pressure. Someone said it's like being an actor on a film set or a TV set is amazing fun, but it's like an inverted pyramid, and you're at the top, or rather the bottom. So there's this
Okay.
little tiny you, and then everything else is above you. And when they turn that camera on you, you've got to get it right because there's a lot of people waiting for you
Right.
to do your job properly. And that's the point. It's a job, and it's one that you have to enjoy, but you have to work hard. You have to focus, and you have to listen. And the same with voiceover, except with voiceover, um, because it's you and your director and your producer. There is an ongoing conversation which you can have.
Okay.
With TV and film, it can be there, but you're also you know that you've got to run on schedule, and a lot of people are depending on you. And when that camera starts rolling, everyone's quiet, everyone looks your way,
Hmm.
and you've got to try and make sure that you get everything right. But I
I
I,
would
I
think the
love
hours
voiceover.
would be longer too.
Oh yeah, it can be. And
Hmm.
with VO, a lot of the time you go in and you're in for about an hour, and then you're done.
Yeah.
And that's very nice. Sometimes it's longer, depending if you're working on animation, for example, then it can be a good few hours. Uh, but it's always good fun. It's hard work because you've got to focus, but if you enjoy your job, you never work a day in your life, do you? And I enjoy my job.
Oh, well, that's good. That's nice to hear. I don't hear that from too many people that are doing something creative, that they necessarily love their job.
Oh, I love it. It's yeah,
Yeah.
it's best job in the world. And
Well, that's
but
really nice to hear.
but voiceover is good because yeah, I like the world of games and gaming and animation
Yeah,
and
that
audio.
sounds like fun.
It's a lot of fun,
Yeah.
especially when you get to see a character that you voiced appearing in games. That's great fun.
Yeah, I would think that'd be a really cool rush.
It
Absolutely.
it is nice. It's a lot of fun.
So when you do go on set for a show or a movie, are you do you still get excited? Do you still have nerves? How do you handle that? Is it still like is it almost like the first time you acted?
It I do get nervous, and I like that because it means that I care.
That's true.
And you can use that nervous energy to help focus you. And you never feel
Yeah.
more alive than when you're just about to go on set, or you're just about to step on stage, or they've said rolling when you're in the vocal booth, and you know this is it. Now I'm laying stuff down for people to hopefully enjoy. It's great fun. So yeah, I do get nervous, but that's why you have wonderful directors and
Mhm.
producers like Sam on set, and other actors who are incredibly supportive, and all the crew. I mean, especially on Outlander, the cast and crew were wonderful people, and just never made you feel you never wanted to leave. I didn't want to leave. I wanted to stay and just
Aw,
just carry on working. I'd have helped out on
yeah.
anything really,
Is there
because
any chance for your character to have like another Beyond
I
again? Are you
I
not allowed to talk about that either?
I don't know what will happen in the future. I'd love to go
Okay.
back on, but I'm not sure what Scotty's up to, poor fella.
Okay.
Um,
I was
but
just curious because I mean sometimes when I've interviewed a couple other Outlander actors and they're like, "Well, I really can't talk about that yet." And I'm like, "Okay." So I just wondered if you were going to sneak back in. So
I would love to say that they've approached me, but they haven't.
okay. Well, that's
That's
fair.
okay. But I think Scotchy's a one and done, and that's fine.
Yeah. Well, at least he was memorable.
I'm glad you thought so. I'm
I
glad
thought
you thought so.
so. I thought he was interesting. And then especially that last part of that like duel scene where he's going to turn quick, turn early and, play dirt to fight dirty kind of thing.
Oh,
Like I thought that was amazing, So I was like, oh my God. So, I was freaked out for
that's the
Braden for sure.
first time I've ever fired a gun. Was that scene.
Oh,
I've
wow.
never fired a gun before in my life.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was quite an experience.
It's different. I did it on a gun range years ago. And I got to tell you, it kind of freaked me out, actually.
Me too. And when
I was like, oh
the
my God, I don't know if this is something I want to do.
No, the same here. And when the armorer, who was incredibly careful, and the way they set you up, they make sure there is no margin for error whatsoever. You know, they were
Yeah.
absolutely brilliant. And when he gave it to the gun to me, he just said, have you fired it? Have you discharged a firearm before? I went, no, I haven't. He went, right, well, this is what you do. This is what you don't do. Don't do anything here. It's not going to be live until I set it, so you'll be all right. Because obviously it's a horse pistol, which means you've got to put black powder in there.
Right.
And he said, so he basically said, look, this isn't what you've got in your hand now is an explosive device. I was like, okay, good. And he said he put a minimum charge of powder in there, so it just made a bang. That's it. Nothing
Yeah.
would come out. But it was an extraordinary feeling. Yeah, it was amazing. And someone said to me, "Are you okay? Are you tired today?" And because it was the fourth or fifth day, and I went, "No, I'm not tired. I could do this all day. I'm dressed like a cross between a cowboy and a pirate, and I'm shooting guns off." It was an extraordinary experience, and like as you say with the attention to detail and the costumes were incredible.
Yeah, they're just like it's
I wanted to keep that coat that I wore. Oh my
I
god!
know.
Oh
Everything's just so beautiful. It's like
yeah,
I know
it,
they
it
work really hard. That department works super hard on that too.
Oh my goodness, yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, but there's no department on that show that doesn't work hard,
Well, that's
and
true too.
it shows, and it shows in the show itself.
Oh, for sure.
The
Absolutely.
a
Absolutely.
constant labor of love, which is fabulous.
And there's such a legion of people and fans that like love that show so much.
Oh,
It's like it's kind of the fandom's kind of crazy. So
well, I think it's because
in a good way, but it's
yeah, no,
crazy.
yeah, it's the same following that you get. I think there's, when people buy into something, then you get that yeah, that love that emanates, and
It's like
they will.
serious devotion.
Yeah, devotion. That's a really good
Hmm.
word. Yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
absolutely. I mean, don't get me wrong. I did say to them, look, if you ever want me back, I'll just shave my head and my beard. No one will know it's the same person. So I'll come back and do something else for you guys.
Right. You could be someone else. No one will know.
Absolutely, I'd love to do that. But they're Yeah, that's what they used to do on Star Trek. They would just get
Oh,
just
that's
get their
right. The
actors
originals,
they
I
like.
remember that.
Yeah, they just keep dressing the same actors up in different
Once in
in
a while, you'd
different
be like, "Isn't that
ways.
the guy that got shot on the last season?" Yeah.
Yeah, but no, it's great fun.
Oh,
But no,
good.
as you were saying, the original question coming up, I've got a movie that I'm working on, which is going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad. I'm excited. I hope to see you in more things. Have you ever acted opposite someone who was like really green or not really prepared or a difficult person? Like, how do you cope with that if your co-star is like
I
not
think,
prepared, not ready, or, a jerk?
I
So,
mean, I'm being very lucky that haven't really experienced much of that, to be perfectly honest.
oh, that's good.
Yeah, I mean, most actors take care of themselves because you've got to be able to go onto a set, show that you're professional, show that you've done your work, and show that you're a person that people want to be around. Because if
Right.
you're not one of those people, they won't ask you back.
Right.
But I've been very lucky. You know, obviously, you get some people have a bad day
Sure.
and they vent, and that's fine. That happens, but that happens not just the actors. That can happen across all aspects of
Sure.
filming. But then again, it can happen in an insurance office. It can happen in a bank.
Oh, right. Yeah.
You know,
It
it's
happens.
just
It happens in real adulting life too, not just acting life.
precisely. But
For
I've
sure.
been
That's
very, very lucky in that respect. But the problem is, you always do that thing when you go, oh my God, there's no one's being awful. No one's being that guy. And then you think, oh no, does that mean I'm that guy? Maybe it's me.
no.
But but I'm very lucky there with the
I was
jobs
just
that I've had.
curious because sometimes you see like articles on like Instagram or whatever from People Magazine or whatnot, and they like say someone was difficult or is deemed a difficult actor or actress, and it's you kind
I,
of wonder like how that happens to them. Is it really something they've done, or is it someone that they're working with that doesn't necessarily like them?
you
It's
know
kind of
what?
like
There are
blacklisting them.
people who don't get on, and
Oh,
we've all got
well,
those
right, just like
stories.
anyone.
Yeah, and sometimes weirdly that can lead to extraordinary chemistry on screen,
Oh,
um,
good point.
which is interesting. But uh, I I do there are people who might be deemed difficult, or they can be quite spiky. But a lot of the time, you might find that's with a lot of people who are leading actors or actresses. And
Right.
again, I, I don't know. I don't have a basis of comparison of what that would be like because
Mhm.
I'm not under the same pressure that they're under.
Right.
And they could be, headlining something, and it can fall on their shoulders, and that can be really difficult.
I'm
Um,
sure.
but but then again, there's no excuse for behaving, rudely to people. That's
Well,
just silly.
sure.
But
So
that's
it
what.
does happen sometimes, but
Oh
yeah, there's
yeah,
no
of course.
excuse
Yeah,
for
yeah.
it. Yeah. So is there like one thing that's most important to you when you act or about acting or something that's, you know, prevalent to you that's meant so much to you? Maybe like something of that nature, like has acting meant something to you, like not just as a job and something you love, because I know you said you love it. But like is something else come out of it that you're like
I think it
something
helps you discover
important?
things about yourself when you play certain characters,
Mhm.
and you hear a character, or you're applying something to a character, and well, it should work like this because of this and this and this, and then you listen to yourself thinking, oh, that's interesting. Well, why don't you apply that to your everyday life then, my friend? So you can learn a lot about yourself through that. I think the lovely thing is making connections with lots of other interesting, like-minded people, because then you
Right.
feel like you have uh, like you have your own tribe and you belong to it, and that's an extraordinary thing, a thing that I consider very very lucky to be part of.
Yeah.
So for example, the film I'm doing now, it's with a group of a company who I've worked with several times before, and lots of familiar faces turn back up, and it's great fun. We work really hard. We try and make good movies and tell good stories, but we're doing it because we love being around each other too. I think that's very important. It gives you a sense of purpose and a sense of place, and
Yeah.
having that it's a gift. It really is.
Yeah. I think those people kind of almost become like your family too.
They certainly do. And I think on long running shows like Outlander, you do look around at the crew and think, oh man, I wish I was kind of part of that, because you
Yeah.
go all over the place, set up these extraordinary worlds, work together, hang out together. It's lovely. And as a sort of like an actor who's just dipped in for one episode, you experience it, but then you have to leave it and you just
I
don't
know
go on.
it's hard.
It is hard.
Yeah, because that sense of belonging and like being part of being part of that new family, I'm sure
Yeah,
is
I think
something like, you want
you've hit the
you want
nail
to
on the
hold
head.
close.
You hit the nail on the head by saying it, a sense of belonging. Having that
Yeah.
is
Well, I mean, I think everybody wants to belong to something.
yeah,
So
they do.
that's cool. So here's a question for you. I don't know if it's not a hard question, but it might be hard. Maybe. What advice, if you could go back and tell your younger self, would you about acting or about anything,
Um,
if you could?
don't drink so much beer. That'd be one. Look after your knees.
Oh, geez, I hear you.
Um, get to the gym, but do more yoga.
Oh,
Um,
stretching. Yeah, that's a
all,
big thing.
all of those things. And well, what I say, a friend of mine once gave me some great advice when we were talking about acting on screen and anywhere, in fact. A lovely man called Richard, and he said, when all is said and done with acting, all we ever can do is just open our mouths and speak the truth.
Mm,
And
that makes sense.
and I think that's a really good piece of advice. So I'd say that to my younger self: open your mouth, speak the truth.
All right. Well, I think that's probably really good advice. So after you finish like a role or a play or production, how do you feel? Like, can you describe your feeling upon finishing something that you know is good?
Very often you feel bereft because it's over,
Oh, yeah.
and you miss that, and you miss the camaraderie, and you miss the fun, and the challenge. But also there's excitement and hope because you're looking forward to the next thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't know what it is, sometimes you do, but you know that you're always moving forward, and that's wonderful. But there is, if you feel like you've done a good job, there's that sense of satisfaction,
Mm-hmm.
which is lovely. But yeah, it's always sad. You always, because there's always going to be goodbyes, and that is sad.
Sure. Sure. I wonder, now that Outlander's been going for like about 10 years and they just have I don't know how much more filming they have for season 8, probably not super lot, but I think that's going to be a hard goodbye for those people that have been
Oh my
part of it for so long.
God, yeah, absolutely.
I
It's going to
can't
be
even imagine what
heartbreaking.
that's going to be like for them. So,
No, hopefully they'll have the mother of all rap parties,
oh yeah. Well,
and
wouldn't that
that'll
be fun? I'd love to be a fly on the wall and see that. That'd be cool.
yeah.
But I think that, I mean, I would think that people are excited to do something else and take on a new character as well. But I mean, I think that it's hard to say goodbye to something you're used to and people you've seen like, almost every day kind of thing. So
It's really hard. It is, but it's life is a series of hellos and goodbyes, and
that's
that's what you've
true.
got to get
And
used
nothing
to.
good lasts forever. So
No, and it's better to go out and miss each other than to finish up and go, well, thank God that's over.
right. Can't wait to get away from those people.
Yeah, and I'm sure no one's going to be feeling that, especially on that show.
Right, right. Of course not. So I think that's all I have for you today, Mike, unless there's something else that you'd like to impart on your fans that I could,
Well,
communicate.
I don't think I have any fans, but it's
Well, I
that's
wouldn't say that. Well, how do you know?
well, true. But no, I
Somebody
mean,
out there likes you, Mike, not just me.
well, that's pretty kind of you. Uh, no, just to say thank you so much for having me.
Oh,
On the
thank
show.
you. Thank you for agreeing to do my tiny little radio show. I really
Oh,
appreciate it.
my pleasure, and I hope you get to enjoy much more Outlander. I know that, was it Blood of My Blood is now filming, isn't it? So
I think they just finished filming.
amazing. That's
They
exciting.
just wrapped. So yeah, I'm really excited to see what that's like. And I saw some clips on because like I watch way too much social media. But I was on Instagram and they were showing like someone had a video of, I guess, people from Outlander show and people from Blood of My Blood like hanging out together. Like
That's
just a short clip, but I saw like Richard Rankin and like Katrina Buff and Sam and Jamie Roy and all these. And I'm like, oh my gosh, who else is? So I'm like trying to see who else is back there. I think Lauren Lyle is there. So yeah, I think they're done. So
They're a really lovely group. As I said, having getting to work with Sam was lovely, and
yeah,
you
I
know,
met him several times. He's very, very, very nice man.
and John Bell's a lovely man as
Oh
well.
yeah, he's hilarious.
He is, and a brilliant actor, but and a very welcoming, lovely person.
Yes. Yeah.
And also, I must say, getting to meet and work with the First Nations guys was incredible
Oh, I
because
can't even imagine that those sets are so incredible too.
they were, but the people were amazing.
Well,
Glenn,
they sure were sure really wonderful, wonderful actors.
yeah, Glenn who played Chief Bird, and there was
Yeah.
Simon,
He's on
Jim.
Tulsa King now.
I know. I mean, the man never stops.
Yeah.
But I remember my last day of filming. I was just going back to my hotel, and I was like, oh well, it's a shame. I'll have a beer and the hotel bar, and I'll get up in the morning and I'll fly home. And then I got a phone call, and it was from these guys like Glenn and Simon and Jim, and they said, "Well, where are you?" I went, "Oh, I'm a hotel," and they went, "Oh, well, we're gonna," because they were living in Glasgow, and I was in Ayr, and they said, "We're coming over. We're gonna go out for a drink with you." I went, "What?" And they went, "Yeah, yeah." And I went, "But you're coming all the way over here?" And they went, "Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, there's a party on the beach, and you can come." And so they kind of just took me under their wings, and
Oh, so they came and grabbed you and took you to the fun.
they did, because a
I
lot of
love that.
artists were living there, and they had a big beach party. They had a fire going, and they were having a few drinks,
Nice.
and it was lovely to like for them to they'd only known me a few days to make me
Just
feel that
embrace you.
welcome. Yeah, it was. You just thought that's yeah, that was a lovely, unique, and treasured experience.
Oh, well, I'm so glad they were like that. They sound like they were super friendly, nice people.
Awesome, absolutely brilliant.
Well, I'm
I
so
just
glad
loved
that you had
working.
such a positive, rewarding experience there. I mean, that's amazing. And I'm really excited to see what you're going to do next. So,
That's very kind of you. Thank you very much.
oh, yeah, absolutely. So I'll send you an email and let you know what's going on and when we're going to play this and everything. But yeah, I
Of
hope you
course.
have, I'm sorry?
I said, of course, that'd be lovely. And if you
Yeah,
ever want another chat, let me know.
absolutely. Thank you so much. And I hope you have a wonderful evening.
Thank you. You too. Well, have a lovely afternoon.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye. Bye.